Alright, so this is part 4 for the final part of our Spiral Abyss run for patch 2.4. And previously we did floor 9 to 11. We didn't have too many issues. Actually, just to kind of know, like on floor 11 on the previous patch, I kind of struggled as well doing this, and the Thunder Manifestation gave me a really hard time. The Hydro guys kind of killed me a lot. So again, I kind of want to go back to just talking about how it's really important to not feel too down if you can't clear this, because it's kind of just progress over time, and your characters will just get stronger and stronger, your team will just grow bigger, and over time you have less and less issues doing this, especially since the leyline disorders kind of favors different characters every time. If your characters don't work well with the leyline disorder and the blessing, then you're gonna have a bad time regardless. And if your characters are not level and you just started off, you can't really expect yourself to fully clear this, right? You see everyone again running Kazuha and Raiden Shogun and all these broken characters. Not everyone has these characters and has like the perfect team and perfect gear, so don't let it get you down too much. So floor 12, just to kind of go over it again, our game plan will be just to clear as much as we can. Again, floor 12 is one of those floors where it's really hard if you don't have your characters leveled up. I guess in this case, like ascend it to at least like 80 probably, and then have some characters maybe like with their skills higher than 6, especially if like they're your main DPS, having better gear. When I have my characters at like +4 gear, +8 gear, and prior to now I have some of my characters at +20 gear, as you see in my first video I went over my gear. It's going to be really hard. So in this case, the leyline sword you kind of want to pay attention to a little bit more, where rather than healing, you need to normal attack them to remove the elemental and physical resistance on them, or else like they won't take any damage from you, or they'll take a lot less. And the game plan is kind of be like this, right? So we're going to go over chambers. Chamber 1, the mechanical perpetual array, you kind of won't really have issues with it. Again, it's kind of the boss where you kill the small guys and then you hit the big guy and then that's it. Not really an element there. These assholes come back, the Abyss Lectors, you need the elements, or else they're just going to waste your time, especially with the timers. It's a lot more punishing, especially with how much health they have. The Dendro Hilichurl, you want to kill him. So we're going to have some kind of water or cryo. And then this one, normally we'll bring the freeze, but we might end up having to bring cryo at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my regular team of the Xingqiu and Child. So hopefully he could bring down the shield. And hopefully with Shangling and Bennett we could remove the shield of the Abyss Herald, this guy. I think there's 2 of them. And then on the final team, the Magu Kenki, these guys don't really resist elements too much. So let's just see how it goes from there. If I end up having to, again, if you really want to reach timers, you could kind of like do a really good team on one of them and a really good team on the second one. Especially if, let's say I needed water for this one to fully get 3 stars on this floor. And then I needed cryo to get 3 stars on this floor. Then we'll worry about that when the time comes. So let's just start. So floor 11... Again, let's get that, let's try to run our Xingqiu, Bennett, Child Shangling on there. And then on the second part, the first team, let's kind of have our same team again. And then, yeah, I guess we could run Goro. I don't think there's really a downside to it. Yeah, we should be fine. Alright, so let's get into it. So again, the timers are really punishing. For floor 12, what I would probably recommend is it really randoms depending on the buff, the monsters you fight. If you really can't clear, I wouldn't worry about too much. One time I've got like 2 stars and everything. One time I only got 1 star on the later floors. So, again, don't let it get you down too much. So let's go again with the effective on this floor, so it goes for all 3 chamber buffs. Let's get the elemental mastery. Let's go from here.
Press the advantage. Burst forth. Solidify. Moment of birth.
Time to clean up.
Again, this guy doesn't really have any kind of I don't think he really has any kind of weakness to any kind of element. So you're just kind of brute forcing him down. There's not really any sort of strategy to this. if you don't have shields, what I would probably recommend is you want to dodge out of his that flying dive that he does when he goes into the air, so that way he doesn't sit on you and like one-shot you. So you just get out of that red circle. Nothing too crazy. The biggest time waster is like when he splits and he spawns into these tiny guys, right? I'm still kind of really bad at this, remembering which ones chase after you, but you kind of want, again, like, okay, so it was right. You go after this laser guy, and then the other guys will just kind of teleport into you. The crab will kind of walk towards you as well, too. Can't even see his health bar. That's the one thing I don't like about running Goro, is that I have no constellations on him, and unless you have constellations on him, it's really hard to remember when to put the flag down. Alright. Alright. And once that's, you'll see his shield go down, so just kind of look around, and then once that shield goes down, you want to start hitting him. And it shows on the bottom of the screen, you'll see like how the hone buff resets. I mean, that's how you kind of keep track of it, but it's kind of hard to pay attention to all these things, especially if you're struggling and you're having a hard time. So take it one step at a time. So he's kind of sucking up all those small guys.
As a dutiful maid would.
Again, you want to make sure you're out of that circle.
Witness my great undertaking.
The one thing about geo constructs I notice is, unless you're really paying attention, like if you try to just spawn it right on the boss, oh yeah, you want to get out of that laser beam, especially if you don't have any kind of shield. You're gonna take a lot of damage.
Steady as stone.
Oh man, I think he phased.
As a good night.
Alright, there we go. Yeah, so you don't want him to phase the second time, or else like you're gonna have a hard time with the timer. If I don't reach the timer, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Again, like it's kind of hard to do this while talking, but the main point is I kind of want to show what you really kind of need to focus on, especially if you're just starting off. And the main thing about doing these chambers as well too is kind of just knowing which targets to go for. The Abyss Hounds here, they're not too tough, but the corrosion will hurt you a lot, especially if you don't have any kind of shield or healers. Alright, so you see how the flying guy has a shield, so you want to go for him second, right? So you want to go for those guys first. So if all goes well, I should still be able to take him down. And then if I do end up having a hard time with this, I might have to change. You could always just change your team around. Alright, so again, like I said on the other parts too, pretty much this exists purely just to waste your time. He drops like this little like totem. I killed it really fast because I have child, but you want to kill that totem, and then once you kill that totem, then it drops his shield by a lot, and then you go after him again. So once he drops that totem, you want to go straight for him. So it's not too optimized. We got 2 stars on it, but honestly, for me, it's good enough. You could just do it over and over again and perfect your teams, but for me, it really doesn't matter too much. I would say, like, for the most part, I would tell people not to work for floor 12, unless you really enjoy doing it over and over again. I wouldn't go too crazy about it.
Stabilize. Burst forth. Feel this ancient power. Everyone on me.
I must leave no stone unturned.
So I think this guy does actually have resistances as well too to Geo. So, oh, so one thing is I forgot to mention is I kind of made the mistake myself too. When he first spawns, you want kind of like the actual overworld boss. When he first spawns, you actually don't want to burn all your attacks on him because he actually kind of like has this like really big damage shield until you see that he has like a color on his body. That's when he takes on an element, and that's when you'll be able to do a little bit more damage. Yeah, so I think he does have some sort of Geo resist on him, because I'm not really doing a lot of damage with my Noelle.
Witness my great undertaking. Rally!
As a dutiful maid would.
And again, I guess I just really want to emphasize, for floor 12, the main thing is you're gonna have a tough time fully clearing this for even like 1 star, especially if you're just starting off. So main thing is you need to gear your characters. You need to have your characters geared. You need to level the talents. If you don't level your characters, you don't have talents leveled up on your characters, you're not gonna be able to clear this like comfortably or even at all for like 1 star. And then this is kind of, so floor 11 and floor 12 is kind of like a benchmark where you need to realize, okay, I need to kind of just spend time with my characters. So I'm playing this for like this is my 4th month of playing the game. When I first started off, like I just couldn't clear this at all, and that is because of gear, right? And it's because of this time invested. You have a lot of people that have been playing this game for a very long time, or since the beginning of the game, even if they didn't whale. So that's why like they have all these characters that kind of make their lives a little bit easier. So you don't want to let it get you down too much that you see all these people clearing this with no issues, but you're having a really hard time, and then you just can't understand why. Well, the reason why is because there's just time invested in there. And this is, again, you also have to remember, this is a very small part of the game. And, you know, as long as you're having fun, you know, don't worry about too much. Again, these Abyss guys, they kind of exist purely just to waste your time. They also do the thing where it's kind of like that one dungeon where it raises your cooldowns by a lot. So just be aware about that. Yeah, so I do notice, you see here, you probably do, fire is probably not enough for this. You probably need some kind of ice team to do this, to clear their hydro shield. Because without some sort of like ice team to clear their hydro shield, you see how their shield is just not going down at all, or just going down really slow.
Let's light it up.
So we'll probably just try to clear this with this channeling Bennett team, and then if for whatever reason I die here, then I'll just probably run it again with a better team. Probably bring my Kaya and what's his face into this, and my Chi-Chi into this. Again, if certain levels like this like waste your time a lot, what you could do is, so on chamber 1 I didn't have any issues, right? So what you could do is, alright, so I died there. So what I'll do is I'll run this again, and with my cryo team on there. So this is actually a good opportunity to kind of talk about how if you struggled with one chamber, you can actually reset your team to purely just to tackle another chamber, right? So on chamber 1, I didn't have any issues. I ran with my hydro team with Child and Xingqiu to clear this part, to take down the fire lector shield, right? But then in chamber 2, since I only had channeling and Bennett, I had a really hard time taking down the Abyss Herald, since the shield just never went down. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to change my teams around, and I'm going to have Cryo running this just to clear this floor so I won't die. And then afterwards, that's when we'll tackle chamber 3. Alright, so we're back. I finally climbed back to this floor, and I swapped my team around to have actually cryo, and let's see how this goes this time. So these guys, again, they're a pain because the main thing is they AoE, they dash at you, they do a lot of damage, as well as they have that thing where you'll see that they affect your cooldowns as well too. So having them frozen actually helps a lot if possible. If not, then you know you're gonna probably have a really hard time to take down these guys' shields. So hopefully I can show you that. You know, mainly it's just to show that you could do this. You know, if you're struggling on a single floor, as long as you kind of just like swap your team around and just ignore the first floor, then you could focus on the later floors as you kind of like clear through it, so that way you're not stuck in one run. It's not like you have to do it like one shot through. Actually, almost just lost my Bennett there. So with some of these like mobs that do like a lot of damage, one thing you kind of want to do as well too is you want to try to take advantage of the fact that whenever you burst, you're invulnerable. So when you're invulnerable, that's when, you know, you could like eat all this damage that these guys do. Okay.
What's the...
Man, you want to dodge that if you don't have any kind of healing going on. So I'm just trying to freeze them together. Alright, so I'm gonna back off since everyone's kind of about to die. Go, one of them down. So one of the main thing is like, you'll die a lot if you don't, you know, back off, if you don't, like, you know, try to give yourself some kind of breathing room. So always make sure, you know, especially if you're just trying to clear it the first time, if you're just trying to get like 1 star or just even just to get through it, make sure to try to just, you know, remember you could back off from the enemies and just try to heal and wait for your cooldowns to come back up. You're not forced to just go in like fully. Alright. So we just go for the flat attack.
I'll catch up.
So chamber 3. Oh, okay. So these guys, right? So you want to be careful because if you don't have any kind of heals or whatnot, or even if you do, these guys hurt a lot. Like they'll do this like tornado punch thing, where if you don't back off and you just stand in it, you're gonna die and you're gonna have a bad time. So you're killing these guys, great. If you're not taking damage for the most part, that's fine. But you know, you gotta remember to just give these guys like a little bit of respect, because then once they start spinning and if you don't get the fuck out of the way, you're gonna die. Alright. So this guy, same thing. He's kind of, these guys are just like a bigger version of the other ones.
Moments of birth.
If you have like a ranged character and you want to shoot their weak points, you could do that as well too. I'm kind of a little bit too lazy to ever do that.
As a good knight should.
Again, just to kind of reiterate, like for floor 12, what I would probably say is like, I wouldn't worry too much about getting the full 3 stars on all of this on floor 12, just for the sake of the fact that it's made to be hard. It's made to make it so like people spend money on gacha and like, you know, get those constellations for characters. So, you know, I would probably place it as like, if you get like 2 stars, then you're probably good. And then if you really want to get 3 stars, unless you're fully like decked out, you would have to like redo this over and over and over again to kind of perfect it. Especially if you're like a new player, it would be really hard. Even for me, like I've been playing for like a couple months, I'm still struggling with it because my gear isn't really that great, and I've only started leveling up my talents to the higher ones like recently. So we're at Chamber 3, and this is going to be the second half, and this is going to be the Magukenki, right? So it's going to be a little bit hard to explain while doing it without dying. So I'm just going to kind of go over it. A lot of it's attacks or telegraph, so what I mean by that is you're going to see him casting it, and then you want to get out of the way, either running out of it, or when he does it, you go behind him. The main thing you want to run away from is when he does this like really big circle thing, which you'll see. And then if you stay in it, you're probably going to die unless you're face tanking with like some sort of shield or whatnot. So you want to get out of the way, and then again, make use of your burst attacks if you can. And then when he first starts off, he's also going to cast something like, he's like going to be doing a setup. And he's also going to be summoning like a clone illusion of him, which you have to end up chasing after him for. So let's just see how this goes. This is one of those bosses where it's kind of hard, especially if you've never done it before, and you're gonna, if you try to face tank everything, you're kind of gonna end up wondering why you're dying so much and get kind of frustrated. So again, I'm just trying to heal up everyone. You want to get out of those strikes. Again, remember when I said, like, you know, he's gonna telegraph everything. So he's gonna be charging up. You want to get out of the AoE.
Oh, so sorry.
So pretty much anytime he's charging up, if you're not sure what it is, especially if this is your first time doing it, just get out of the way. Especially like that downward strike, it hurts. Like you could get one-shot, especially if you don't have like a lot of HP. The shield thing, you probably could run behind him, but if you want to be safe, if you're not worried too much about time, just run out. See that thing? You run out of it since it's just like a circle around him. This thing, you want to get out. Yeah. If you don't run out fast enough, or if you don't cast like a burst, you're going to eat a lot of damage.
Dodge this.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
Okay.
Why do they never miss?
So I got hit by that. So you want to be careful when you summon the illusions.
Light it up.
No time to lose.
So I'm still getting hit by that. It's a little bit hard while trying to talk, but you know, just be a little bit aware.
Nice and spicy. Let's light it up.
Let's try to get Bennett up. Or you could just bring like a shielder character, then you won't really have as many issues. The illusion pretty much just copies what he does. So if he does like a spinning attack, then the illusion's gonna do a spinning attack. So in that case, I had the burst going, so that's why I didn't take the damage. I was actually meaning to burst with Child there. I actually messed up.
You can run.
There you go.
Let's light it up.
So I just want to kind of catch my breath and move out. Especially since I want to heal my child up as well. So in that case, he had both the illusions on there, but luckily I had my Bennett ults up. So his shielding is probably like the easiest to move out of all his attacks. Okay. So we're getting towards the end, we want to be a little careful. I almost ate that double attack.
Adventure time. Let's light it up.
Riptide.
Oh,
Quite
lost my child there. We should be good though. Okay. Alright, so it should be ending soon.
I'm going in.
dodge this. Cool it.
Oh, want to ult there, heal back up. You're gonna cast that slash. So the wind slash, if you're actually like paying attention, you could actually just side run it.
Everybody stand back.
Oh,
That's gonna
I'm
hurt
gonna
in
eat
the
that.
morning.
Alright.
Freeze.
Alright, let me just try not to die at the end.
Dodge this.
Alright, so this should finish it.
Going in. Eat this.
Don't get frostbite.
Oh, oh no.
Was unexpected.
Alright, so I could probably do a lot better if I wasn't talking while doing it, but you kind of get like the gist of it, right? So when it comes to the last chamber of floor 12, pretty much it just kind of takes practice, and most of the attacks you just need to move out of, or if you could bring a shield, even better. But mainly I kind of wanted to show, like, when it comes to clearing floor 12, it's one of those things where you just gotta try over and over again if you really wanted to try hard. But for the most part, I wouldn't really worry about full clearing it, especially if you just started the game. And for me, I'm kind of satisfied with just getting 2 stars. I really don't feel like ramming my head into a wall doing it over and over again. But the main takeaway from this was kind of to show that, you know, if I struggled with the second chamber and my team just wasn't good enough to get a timer on it, I could just go back, do my first chamber again with like a team that doesn't work with clearing the flames fast enough, and then just have like a cryo team for my second chamber. And then same thing with the third chamber. If I'm struggling with the Magu Kenki and then I really don't want to use my Shangling Bennett team for that, I could always just swap it around, have the Shangling Bennett team on the first team, and just run my Geo team for the second team for an easier time. So that's pretty much it. I hope these videos help someone out there that's also struggling with the Spiral Abyss. To be honest, even playing for 4 months, I still kind of have no idea what I'm doing. But, you know, I know that when you don't have characters like Kazuha or Raiden Shogun like all these other people have that are clearing the Abyss super fast, it's a struggle, and you might feel kind of down that, oh, why can't I clear it for 36 stars like everyone else? But just remember, it's okay if you don't fully clear the Spiral Abyss. Don't let it take the fun out of the game for you. The fun is whatever you make of it, right? And you'll probably get a sense of accomplishment of just feeling good that your characters are getting stronger, you're doing better, and you're climbing deeper into the Spiral Abyss every time because you're putting effort into it. Aside from that, thank you for watching. I really appreciate everyone that's been subscribing and all that stuff. You know, it's kind of crazy that people are watching the video to begin with. Again, I really, really, really appreciate it. Have a great day.